welcome to the Talkback podcast. My name is Jacob Kuri, and finally, after years of wanting to do this, I finally just decided to stop making any type of excuse and just go for it and shoot for it. And well, this is something that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. And I think I've been this even longer than I've realized, right? And I mean, what I mean by that is that I've always been the type of person to think a lot. And not only think, but want to expand on the ideas and the I guess opinions that I have on a lot of things. And I just think that putting them out there and also sharing them with others and being able to, I guess, not only have someone there to see my point of view, but even at times see another person's point of view. And so this has been a journey that I want to take with y'all. And I've talked about this with a lot of different people in my life, and I've brought up the idea to others, and I've gotten a lot of different ideas from other people and a different, I guess, opinions on what they would want to see. And obviously there's been a lot of yeses, there's been a lot of no's, and it's something that for me, I have had a very big feeling about, and something that I feel, I guess, very passionate about, and the vision that I have for this, people aren't going to be able to see, right? But I guess that's kind of one of the messages that I want to bring, is that so much of the time, all of us have things and we hold back ourselves. Because, I mean, we live in a world where we have everything that we need realistically, right? Like, it just comes down to, are we willing to do it? And even before, obviously this is the first episode, so this is me starting. Even before me starting, I have heard things of I don't know what you're thinking, or I don't know if this is a good idea, and all this and that, and be careful and things like that, which was to be expected, right? So what I wanted to do with this episode, right, is to kind of give an idea and try as much as I can to give the vision that I have to y'all. That's why there's no one here. So to begin, like I said in the beginning, my name's Jacob Kuri, and I've always been a very curious person. So that's why this is something that I feel fits me so much. And my vision and idea that I have for this is I want it to be a guest-based podcast. So every episode I'm going to have a guest, whether that's someone, that I know very well or someone that I don't know very well, people that I agree with or disagree with, just someone that I'm interested in talking to. That's simple. Just someone I'm interested in talking to. And there's so many ideas and things that I want to share with y'all that I'm not going to get into yet too specifically. I'm going to wait for that time to come. But for now, I just want to show y'all or speak about what I have. And so, like I said, it's going to be guest-based. I'm going to have people on. I'm going to talk to them. You can think of it as kind of like an interview, but I want it to be more laid back than an interview. I just want it to be a conversation, right? Like a conversation that I would have without cameras, right? It's like if the person, I don't want us to even think about it being for y'all. I just want us to have a conversation, talk, and then y'all be there along for the ride, right? As a viewer, or if you're in the room with us, speaking and conversating with us. And so what I'm going to get to is, I guess, right now, things that I'm interested in, right? Things that I'm interested in talking about. And then at the end, for those of you that are probably watching and tuning in now, y'all know that I've set up a question and answer, a Q&A. And at the end of the podcast, I'm going to get into those questions. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability and to, hopefully it's enough and I meet the answers that y'all wanted, right? But to begin, I feel like this is going to be a part of my life always, and that's the plan, right? Because there is so many things that I've always wondered about, and so many things that in my life, like I feel like not many people look at life the way I do. And I'm not trying to say that to, I guess, seek attention or act that sort of way. But I have always felt this way as a kid, right? Like as a kid, I've always looked deeper into things. Or I guess a good example is like I've always had a very, very addictive personality. Like where if there's something that I'm interested in, I can't just look into it for a little bit, or like I have to invest myself fully into it. Whether that was sports, especially sports as a kid, and music. For those of you that don't know, I play the drums. And well, obviously that addicted to it. I fully invest myself into it. And I think because of that, that's the reason why I dive so deep into things. And I like to know as much as I can about things. And I kind of want that aspect of my life to reflect on this and for y'all to see that, for y'all to see like that interest in things that might not be as interesting to others, right? But the point is that I'm interested in it, right? And the point is that I want to explore it for myself because there's so many questions that I have in my mind that I want to, I guess, get to the bottom to or discover. And at the same time, I feel like there's also so many things that y'all want to know about or hear about, but that people are just scared. Like people are scared to talk about. And I kind of just want to be a voice for this group of people, right? That we feel like there's something inside of us that we push back on because we're scared of those around us. We're scared of what the world's going to tell us because of the society that we live in. Like obviously with social media and with this highlight reel is what I like to describe it as, of like what our life is supposed to look like. That growing up in this day and age, it's hard. It's hard to not want to fit that or not want to live life the way that they tell us to live when that's not how things are supposed to be, right? And well, that's not the way that God wants us to be. That's not the purpose that he gave us. We're not supposed to be like everyone else. And that's the truth. And it's very, very easy to fall into that trap. And I've done it. But I think because of, like how I mentioned earlier, that I can't, like things aren't just simple in my mind, right? Like if something's there, I have to think about it and I have to like very much indulge in it because I don't think that things are as simple as we like to make them seem, right? And to I guess summarize it, I want to break, or I guess, no, not break, but indulge into this curiosity that I've always had. And with life in general, and it could be things like why people do certain things, why humans act a way, why boys and girls are different maybe, or why certain people are just function differently than others, and this is interesting to me. And so I want to get down into that and down to that with others, of course. And if there's anything that I want to share, or if there's anything that I want for the world to know, a message that I want to bring, is that we need to stop being scared to be ourselves. And the reason why I want to speak on that so much is because I feel like in my life I've known that at a really young age, and I learned that. But I've always like tried my best to, I guess, fit that, right? Because obviously, like I said, we're gonna struggle with that. I don't think like, it's very rare to find someone that's gonna not care about what anyone thinks their whole life, right? It seems very unrealistic, because it's kind of like we see it, and these things, whether we realize it or not, play in our head what others tell us. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is that we need to focus on what we're telling ourselves and what we feel within ourselves, right? Because there's always something inside of each and every single one of us that we feel, I guess, right? That's unique to us. That I have, that my brother may have, or my sister may have, or that they may not have. And I think trying to expand on that or live life through that thing that's inside of us is important. But so many of us fail that, because we kind of just live through the motions, and like, do my parents tell me to do, or what does the world want me to do, rather than what should I do? What is that thing that I feel a calling to do? Of course, obviously within God's will, right? And so I have always struggled with finding that, and struggled with knowing exactly what my purpose was. And my whole life, I've always felt like I've had something different than others my whole life. And I say that because, like, I noticed as a kid, it was harder for me to get along with people than it was for others. And I think that's why very early on in my life, I was kind of shy growing up. And I was very to myself, and I had these ideas to myself, and I kept them within, because of, for lack of better terms, I guess, an insecurity, or this thing that, like, I thought that it was bad that I was different than other people. But I realized growing on in my life and learning that that's not how we're supposed to feel. We're not supposed to feel bad for being different. I think that's what makes us human, is that we have something that we can uniquely bring to the world. And it's so common that we just push that aside because our parents tell us something, or our family tells us something. And I just want to shed light on why this is such a bad thing. And this is exactly what the enemy wants of us, right? Whatever idea we may have of the enemy, they're trying to obviously hold us back, because the stronger we get, the more that we can do, right? And that's not what the enemy wants. And within our life, all of us are obviously going to experience different things, and we're going to experience different journeys and paths of our lives. But what I'm here to do is to try to just show y'all that we need to stop being scared, all right? We need to stop being scared of the people and even ourselves holding us back. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, it's us stopping us from making that decision or step forward, right? We're not forced to do anything. As soon as you become an adult, as soon as you turn 18, you are not limited in any aspect. Like, you can go and do whatever you want. That's the world that we live in, which is amazing, right? That we can really do whatever we want, but it comes down to what you're gonna do. And so I'm already gonna head into the Q&A part of this. Because obviously I guess what I wanted to do is I wanted to begin this, and I kind of wanted to hear from y'all. And also maybe if you had questions about what this was gonna be like, because I really didn't speak about this to anyone. Well, I did, but only those really close to me knew that I was gonna do something like this. And so I hope that one day down the line in the future, like I look back at this and I look back at this moment, and I guess I'm proud of myself for taking this first step, because that's the hardest step, I believe, is the first step. And I know that one day all of this is gonna turn into something that I can't even imagine, or that my brain like can't even begin to fathom. And I'm just excited for it. And I have big faith in myself and in this, that God is gonna do something with this. And I just feel it. I can't describe it. When I talk to certain people, they think I'm crazy, but that's the point of this. That's the point, is that that's going to happen. And you're gonna feel something restricting you, holding you back, but we need to fight that. And so this is what this is. And so finally, I'm gonna get into this last section of this episode. And lastly, I just want to say that if you're watching this and you do feel this way, you do feel like there is something in your life that you feel, or you might not even know it, but you just feel something, that you seek it and that you don't ignore it. Because I promise you that thing that you're feeling is something that God put inside of you that He wants you to act on. It's there for a reason. And that it's that simple. It's there for a reason. And you can probably ignore it and go do something with your life, go get a 9 to 5, and you can probably live a decent life, have a family, all this and that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're never gonna know how high your ceiling was when you decide to ignore it, right? You're just never gonna know what God could have done with your life if you choose to just live, I guess, what we think of as a normal life. And so now I'm gonna get into this last section, right, which is our Q&A. And so I'm not gonna say who asked the question, just because I feel like, when I put up obviously the post, most of y'all put it in the anonymous section. So I'm just not gonna say any of them. And I honestly got more than I thought I was gonna get. So I'm really excited about that. So first question: how do you know a person is to stay for good or just personal growth? So what I think this person meant is like, how do we know if a person is there to be there for the rest of our life, or just there, I guess, to learn a lesson? And so what I'd say is, obviously having experienced this, I think that because I think that if a person is supposed to stay in your life, I think ultimately they're there to make you better in some aspect, right? If you have someone that's kind of just keeping you back or in the same place that you're in, or is just telling you like, yo, like you're good being here, like you shouldn't do this, or they're just, I guess, there and only making you comfortable. And instead of moving up, they're just keeping you flat. Then they're probably not supposed to be there, right? Same way as if like we should always look within ourselves and try to be that person for others, I guess. Like be the best version of ourselves so others can see it, you know? So others can be like, look, I see that he's doing this. Like maybe this motivates me to do this now, motivates me to be better, right? You know, like obviously God doesn't want us to do this for ourselves because it's not for ourselves. At the end of the day, it's for his glory and his will. And his will is for us to reach others, right? Go and preach to the others and to the nation, right? Not to ourselves. So, like I said, I'd say if the person is holding you back in your life, then they're probably not supposed to be there and they're probably not God's will, right? Whether that's a boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, it could be anything. It could even be family members, right? So, next question. What is a key lesson you learned from failure? So, I think the biggest lesson that I learned in my life is that people are different and not everyone not only is going to, but should react the same way to things as you will, right? Because obviously, I mean, some of us grow up in a more harsh environment to where we're used to more obviously harsh things. And then there's others that don't experience that. But then things probably are going to affect them more later on in their life. And so the things that we say might not seem harsh to us or mean to us, but it can feel that way to others. And so in my mind, for the longest time in my life, I thought like, if I feel like this wouldn't hurt me, or like if I can go through this, or if I can talk about this or joke about this, whatever, then everyone else should too. And if they do, then they're just soft or insecure or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, what we have to remember is that, I mean, people grow up differently, you know? And we have to be open-minded to that, to the others' experiences, I guess is a way to put it, right? And I think that's definitely the biggest thing that I learned in my life. And also another, I guess, side one is not to trust people too early on is another thing. Because I was kind of, I mean, I was very open. Like if I talk to someone, I would kind of just say what I feel and this and that. But that can't always be the case because you don't know what they've experienced. So I might say something that I feel about a certain way and it can hurt them. And obviously that's never good. You shouldn't want to hurt them, I guess, right? So it's important that you know someone and know how they are before you open everything up to them, I guess, if that's how I can say it, right? So the third question is your worst personality characteristic, or what is my worst personal flaw that I have? And I'd say I think I get angry fast. And I think I've worked on it a lot, especially as a kid. But I think it's definitely something that I can still work on, is that not, I guess, getting angry fast, because that kind of causes me for my mind to go somewhere where it's not supposed to go. And I definitely need to work on that, my temper. Next question. What made you want to start a podcast? And I mean, I guess that's kind of what the whole episode was about, but I'll make it quick. The reason why I want to start a podcast is because there's so many questions that I have, and I'm curious about so many things, and I just want to get to the bottom of these things, and I want to bring y'all along in that journey, right? And it's really that simple. Next question. Do you have a girlfriend? Yes, currently I do have a girlfriend in the filming of this podcast, so yes, I do have a girlfriend, and we've been together for a long time now, years. Next question. What is my, I guess, well, it's kind of, I can kind of answer in two ways. What is the biggest ick in general, and what's, I guess, my biggest ick? Now, the word ick, I don't really like. I don't know. But I'd say what kind of turns me away from someone would be them not being passionate about anything. Like if they have nothing that they are, I guess, striving for or shooting for, and their dreams are kind of just like minimalistic, I don't like that. And I don't think that anyone should be that way. And I guess what I think is a general ick for everyone, I guess mine could be that, but I think people just don't, It might seem very simple, but sadly, we need to say it. Just don't be rude. Like, you're gonna go so much farther, and life is gonna be so much easier for you working with others if you're just not rude. Just don't be a jerk. Like, just don't be a jerk. Next question. What is my favorite thing to do? It changes in the phase of my life. Depending on the phase of my life, it changes because there's times where I enjoy drumming the most. There's times where I enjoy playing certain sports like volleyball, football. Because like I said, I have a very addictive personality. So I tend to hyper focus on things in different points in my life. And but like right now, my favorite thing to do is probably just I like learning. Like I like learning about things that I'm interested in. So like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I like learning a lot about even the Bible. Like a lot of the aspects of the Bible interest me a ton that I still need to indulge and I guess get into more. But I guess a summary of it would be growing. I like growing. I like advancing in my life. I always want to try my best to just get better, in any aspect of it. I can't just sit and be still. Like I have to grow in some type of way in my life. Next question. What is it like being a PK or pastor's kid for y'all that don't know? So yes, I'm a pastor's kid. I was born and raised in church. And I think that plays a certain part in why I've always felt so different from others. In the sense that, whether you believe that it's how it should or not be, we do have a different standard. We're put at a higher pedestal than others. Or not pedestal, not that we're better than others, but that people think that we should definitely act more, I guess, mature, whether that's spiritually or whatever it is, right? And so I think the way that, and y'all have probably heard it described this way, but because it's such a good way to put it, is that it's like we live in a glass house and that everyone is constantly looking at what we're doing. And obviously this is gonna probably make that worse. But yeah, I think it feels like everyone's constantly looking, and like I can make the same mistake as someone else, and for me, it's gonna seem a lot worse because I'm a pastor's kid, which I feel like is kind of a toxic way to think about it. And I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of PKs end up backsliding, is because they start to feel a pressure that's set by others. And the way that I've always looked at it to combat that is I've always just looked at it as an honor. Like, it's an honor that God wanted me to live in this certain position in my life. And so I want to live up to not people's expectations, but God's expectation, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of, I guess, that revelation. One of those revelations I had early on in my life was that. Next question. Do you plan on doing more fashion content? Yes, I do. Because like how I was talking about, I have a very addictive personality. One of the things that I tend to really focus on is fashion and the whole idea of it, making outfits for others, designing. And I think the reason why I like fashion so much is because it's kind of a way to display yourself without even having to meet someone, right? Like you can look at someone's outfit and get some type of idea of what that person's gonna be like, So yes, I do want to make more fashion content. That is something that I definitely want to get more into. Next question. When did you start drumming / advice for new drummers? So first question, when did I start drumming? I started drumming when I was 7 years old. So now I just turned 20 this year, so that's 13 years I've been drumming for, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I guess 13 years would be the answer. Next question, or the / any advice for new drummers? What I like to tell drummers that are beginning because I'm not some crazy pro expert by any means, but I obviously have experience. And so what I've learned, or what has helped me the most that I like to tell, is just learn to love it. Like, the best thing you can do early on is find a way to be as interested in it as possible, because then practicing is going to be a lot easier. Playing is going to be a lot easier because you're simply going to love it and you're going to enjoy it. So that's, I think, the best thing that you can do is just learn to love it. And everything else I feel like is going to come into play. If you can just learn to, I guess, love it, right? You'll enjoy it more. Next question. Any relationship advice? I can say what I know, or what I've learned is within my relationship is, I think when a problem arises, because it will arise, and you're gonna have the craziest struggles in every relationship, right? But I'm guessing this was like romantic relationships. So what I would say is realize and understand that the relationship is not always for you or for yourself. I think that a big aspect of a relationship that this world, or this generation that is starting to come into the world, is that, like, it's just about my satisfaction, and like I need to be happy all the time. And no, like, the idea that to be in a romantic relationship is just for you to be happy is just not true at all. I think the real fundamental point of a relationship, and the reason why God obviously wants us to be in a relationship, is that he wants us, or he wants the two people to make each other better. As simply put as I can make it, it would be like that, is that he wants for them to make each other better, right? To grow in any way that it can be. If your partner isn't making you a better person in any type of aspect in your life, then that's not a good thing. And like I said, that kind of relates to it not being about yourself, because you need to be that for the other person as well. You need to put in the effort for the other person, right? To meet somewhere in the middle, right? Next question. Favorite genre of movies? I don't know. I guess it would technically be action, because I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, Harry Potter, and I feel like all those things have in common is action. So it'd probably be that. I guess action movies. But I also like movies that have a lot of depth into them, and movies that really have to make you think. I love movies that way, that you leave the movie theater and you're thinking like, whoa, what happened? Or, just that type of thing. And the last question, who's your favorite sibling? It's hard to say, because honestly, I feel like throughout my life, I've been closer to different siblings, and also y'all don't know my siblings. So it's hard to say. But I think for the majority of my life, I've been closest to my brother, my one and only brother. And I think it'd be him. Not only because, like I said, I've been closest to him for the longest. And so I feel like if there's someone that I would rely on in terms of my family, like to, I guess, relate to me the most, it would probably be my brother. And so yeah, I don't want to say necessarily that he's my favorite sibling, but he's the closest to that. And yeah, so that's done with the questions. So these last few words, what I want to say to end. First of all, thank you for everyone that tuned in. Thank you to everyone that told me to begin this, that supported me, and to push me to do this. Like, it means the world. More than you realize. And I promise that it's gonna mean something one day. And to close, my final thoughts and words is that one day I know that I'm gonna look back at myself and see this, And it's probably gonna be like, whoa, like it's crazy how much you've grown and changed. But what I wanna, I guess, tell my future self that's gonna watch this one day is that, first of all, obviously I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for doing this, getting out of your comfort zone and finally just putting your foot down and getting to it, you know, and hopefully, God willing, one day this is gonna make an impact in people's lives in one way or another, right? And that's my biggest goal, is that I want hopefully to help someone, to maybe just change someone's life a little bit, you know? Whether that's just simply through entertainment, a distraction obviously from something, whether that's learning, growth, and you know, just I guess an outlet, but not only an outlet, but also a way to learn something and to impact someone's life. And so I just want to thank everyone that's here, and I'm excited for what this is going to turn into. Obviously, like I said, we're going to have people on. It's not just going to be me every episode. No, this is just for the first episode, I promise. There will be someone else on, and it's going to be more interesting. I just wanted to, I guess, explain and talk about what this was going to be. But again, thank you. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. If you want to support, obviously, I'm on every platform. I'm going to be on every platform. You can watch and listen: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all those things. You can also follow me on every other social media platform: Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok, Facebook, all those things. I'm going to be posting on those things, and you're going to see more of me on those. And so if you want to support, that's the best way. Leave a comment down in this video. Tell me of maybe things or maybe people that you'd want me to have on, or things you want me to talk about, because I'm probably going to continue doing this Q&A thing for those that are interested in that. And so thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning in. That's me. That was the first episode, and I'll see y'all soon.